Yo, that EPK sure didn't work that time around. Man, that was kind of awkward. What the fuck happened to that? Normally I have my whole Dancing with Ghosts little commercial there at the beginning. Whatever. Anyway, what's up, everybody? I know there's not a whole lot of people on yet, so, I'm taking my time. But, yeah, like I said in the title there, we're going to be doing some 90s, pretty much alternative albums, ranking them by their album art, not by the actual music itself. Yeah, sorry that pre-roll didn't work out. I guess I deleted the media or something behind it. It should be in the same spot. I don't know why it didn't play. Comes with the fucking territory of live streaming. I swear to God, it's some new bullshit every day. I thought I had it in its own folder. No, I might have accidentally fucking just deleted it. Sweet. I am so good at this. It's not like I haven't done like a billion of these so far. Anyway, I hate when I take a shower, my nose gets shiny for some reason. Everybody focus on my shiny nose the whole rest of the stream. No, I mowed my grass today because I'm a man. That's what men do. They mow their grass. So yeah, that was fun. And I just Jason Graves'd it. Does he fuck up his streams a lot? If so, then yes, I just Jason Graves'd it. Thanks, Jason. He really digs my content. God, you just listened to Alien Ant Farm's new album? But why, though? Why would you do that? I couldn't imagine their top album with Smooth Criminal. I couldn't imagine that would have been a good listening experience. Although I could be wrong. There's always that one out there who's like, nah, dude. Smooth Criminal, that was like their worst song. Where it's at is like fucking track 18 called Floodgates. And man, when Floodgates kicks in, you cannot tell me that's not the gentliest guitar riff. I don't know why they never played that one on the radio, dude, but don't underestimate Alien Ant Farm, bro. Don't look down at him just for that one MJ. That was just for the bag, man, so they could do other stuff. There's all of those people out there. Oh yeah, deleting my files, right? Yeah, that's good. People are way more astute to things than I am in the brain department. Oh man, yeah, we're having fun right now so far. We're gonna get to the album rankings here in just a little bit, but I'm waiting for more of you fucks to join the chat, so I don't have a bunch of people going, oh man, I missed it, or what did I miss? Okay. Man, before I jumped on this live stream, I was listening to this weird like one of those Spotify like this is Sting or this is U2 playlists. And apparently he's done a recent like techno remix of Fields of Gold with Marshmello and some female singer. And like he like reprised his vocals and everything, and he's got kind of an older man sounding tone to his voice now and all that. And they totally changed like his really, objectively beautiful lyrics in that original song to like these more generic lyrics, and then they took out all like any kind of like 90s sounding adult contemporary instrumentation in favor of like 4 on the floor kick drums and just generic Gen Z EDM. And it's like, oh, congratulations, you've managed to take a timelessly great song like Fields of Gold and water it down and suck any kind of soul or likability out of it aside from the vocal melody. They did keep that, and that's a great vocal melody, but yeah, I love it when they do that. It's amazing. What's up to anybody commenting in the chat? Oh, thanks for telling me the meal that you're having, Grace, over there in fucking Montana. Grace is one of my drinking buddies, and now she's not in Jacksonville anymore. So my other friend, who was my drinking buddy, is like, he was 50 something days sober, and then he drank yesterday for 4th of July, so now he's got to start all over. So yeah, I got no more drinking buddies, so this is part of the reason why I do this. So yeah. Yeah, I figured you'd get a laugh out of that one, Grace. Yeah, Grace is actually a girl. We don't have a whole lot of those around these parts. It's very sausage oriented around here. I don't know. That's the energy that I attract. That's fine. Drinking right now, Chief McLeod? Yeah, I'm about to pop one open myself. I have this weird like back pain as of last night. And I just kind of want to numb that more than anything at this point. Well, you know, weed. Chicago is talking about he doesn't really drink anymore, so he's got his kombucha and weed, and it's like, yeah, weed is that's a numbing substance just like alcohol. You're just as fucked as we are. Well, maybe not just as, but I don't know. I feel like burning like grass and inhaling the smoke directly into your lungs can't be good for your lungs over time. That's just me. Just my opinion. Now, propylene glycol and flavoring and nicotine, that's the way to that's what you want to put directly into your lungs. Oh, you were saying Grace was thinking the same thing regarding our other friend. Yeah. I was surprised that he broke his 52-day sobriety just to have a few beers on 4th of July. It seems like you'd want to keep that streak up if it were me, but I don't know. Grace, don't start telling them you're a girl now. You're gonna throw blood in the water here. Got a bunch of horny sharks floating around you. I've seen the Discord that these people are in. It's a very horny Discord sometimes, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm right in there with them. I'm right in there with the dogs, and the foxes and the cocks, meaning roosters in this case, not like a sexual thing, but yeah, it gets really horny in there. 7 Years of Broken Mirrors is a pretty cool album cover in my opinion. It's not from the 90s, but it's still cool. I don't want it to be from the 90s. I want to look, modern. I kind of hate when we'll like play our music for people and they'll be like, oh, this reminds me of... So when I first started making music, people said, oh, this reminds me of the 80s. And at the time, the program I was using had a lot of 80s synthesizer patches on it, so... yeah, my old music did sound 80s. And then we released, like, I think Audacity, and everyone was like, oh, yeah, this sounds so 90s. And then when we released a teaser for our new song called Magazine, which isn't out yet, someone was like, yeah, this brings me back to 2008. So I'm hoping in our next, like, 2 or 3 singles from now, we'll actually sound like we're in the year 2020. That's the goal, but apparently I'm really good at writing music that sounds like it's from a long time ago. Probably because that's when I stopped taking in new information. Hey, what's up, Andy K. Shore? John Bergeron. Dude, I was in a band in the early 2010s, and the way of promoting bands has changed so much in 10 years. Can you please talk about that? Sure. As we wait for some more people to jump on the chat before we start rating this album art. Yes, I can talk about being in the band in the early 2010s, saying so much in the way. Yeah, social media. That's how it's changed. In the early 2010s, sure. I mean, even back in the MySpace days, you would promote shows via MySpace, via bulletins, their bulletin feature, which was something that you posted that the whole community could read or that all your friends would read. It's kind of like what the Facebook feed is now, but that was just like one small feature of MySpace. But word of mouth in the early 2000s was still kind of the way to go. Show flyers made more sense in the early 2010s. Now, like actual paper handbills don't really make all that much sense. It's a waste of resources, a waste of paper, and it just gets kind of thrown in the trash as soon as you hand it to people. I would just say, like, yeah, just everything's social media now, like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, however you got to do it. If you got a show coming up, you know, posting on all over social media is really how you have to do it. Creating events on Facebook, inviting your friends to the event. Yeah, that's just how word gets out these days. It's fucking rare. I think maybe in the past couple years there might have been a few people who have said, "Oh, you should check out this particular live band or that particular live band." But they were all my contemporaries around my age who were also doing bands. They were telling me this for like research purposes. They weren't telling me per se as though they were excited, like an excited teenager being like, "Dude, you gotta check out this new band." They were saying it like, "Hey man, there's this new band and they're catching some heat. You might want to check them out. You know, they're called Yada blah blah blah." Yeah, that was their name. Yada blah blah blah. That was my Death Moth 6 of bands just then. So yeah, I mean, in any other way, I would say it really hasn't changed. I mean, they don't, in my town at least, they don't really do the pay to play as much anymore as they used to, because we got finally rooted out all the rotten promoters and shit. So pay to play is when you have to sell, like, you either have to pay a fee upright to play a show, which is bullshit, because like they should be paying you, right, if you're bringing people, or B, they give you a stack of tickets. They front you like 50 or 75 tickets, and they're like, yeah, if you can sell 50 of these, you can open for the national band, but if you sell under 20, then you can't even play the show. Some kind of shit like that. So they've done away with that in my town. That was very heavily prevalent in the early 2000s, 2010s. That was very much more prevalent here, and I feel like they're not really doing that as much anymore. Has your band gone on tour? What was the largest one in your local area? Did you guys buy a van? Yes, we bought a van. We've gone on a small little 3-day thing that was back to back, but honestly, ever since 2020 happened, we've been so derailed with everything that the idea of getting all 4 of us together, taking a week or 2 off of work, planning a tour route, planning an itinerary, getting cities that have no idea who we are, where we have no market presence, just putting it all together. Some bands make it look so easy, but it's something that we have not been able to do. And I don't know if I'm like super into the idea of touring these days anyway, unless you already have a large presence and people already want to see you. If you're an unproven entity, like I don't know, let's say Rex Viper, outside of a convention, outside of an area where video game nerds hang out, yeah, you're just another fucking band that no one cares about, that will have very little draw. So we've played large shows, but we haven't done like a big tour or anything. I'd like to do another string of dates. I'd like to get the fuck out of the South and go more like states and shit. But you know, US is a big country. Going from state to state, that's a long time to cover that ground. DJ SB, you better fucking film that whole performance and send it to me, because I feel like they're gonna do what they did last time, and they're gonna make the footage hard to get on YouTube. They know that I'm sniffing around them, man. They're aware. I've talked to some sources. Justin is aware that I have covered extensively their band on YouTube, and I think I was a small part as to why the comments are disabled, as to why the footage had been made hard to get after the first 2 or 3 live shows. So yeah. What's the thing in the background with the pumpkin? I don't see a thing in the background with the pumpkin. There's this. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe there was. Are you talking about that thing? I don't know what you're talking about. Lone Wolf God. All right. let's stop batting around each other's cocks and get to this album tier list thing. Let's see if this works. Okay, the only thing that sucks about doing it this way is that I've seen Anthony Fantano do it on his Fantano channel, and he's actually able to, whenever he selects the album, he's actually able to make it larger as he clicks on it. I think he's using a different methodology or something, but I can't. So all you get are these tiny little thumbnails down here of the album. So hopefully all you guys know what the album looks like in your head, because goddamn, that thumbnail is very small. So that's the only thing that does suck about it. But yeah, so keep in mind as I'm doing this, I'm merely going off of and any of the questions in the chat right now, I'll get to those like later on, because I'm trying to get into this right now. I'm merely going off of the cover itself. Now, it's going to be a little difficult to try to divorce yourself mentally from the actual album that the music is contained on, because like they are so interconnected, right? You know, you look at an album and you instantly think like, yes, that, and you almost kind of become protective of the album art, because you're like, well, such good music is attached to it. Fuck you for saying anything negative about it or whatever. But I'm going to try to separate my thoughts and feelings from the actual album artwork itself. And so we got just your standard S through D tier here. I always say S is for satisfactory, A, and then you have your A, B, C, and then D. So all right, let me go here. Let me get started here. So they put like Days of the New, which I love it, because, you know, don't you touch me, guess I finally found a reason, I don't need an excuse, I got this time on my hands, you are the one to abuse. Oh! Anyway, probably something that only I think is funny on here, but I don't know, it's I've seen this album cover before. It's just kind of got like this kind of gold and black theme to the coloring. It's like this tree with all these you know, diverging branches with this river or lake in front of it. It's very standard 90s, like it's, you know, the font is very kind of squiggly and Alice in Chains-esque. It's supposed to denote alternative. It's supposed to denote what kind of music you're getting. There's no originality behind it. So many kind of bands had come before them and done stuff like this. So I'm going to put the Days of the New album in the C category. Nothing special about that or whatever. All right, up next. Anyone know what album this is? Because I cannot tell. Is that L7? I think that might be L7. I wish I should have made another category for like just shit I don't know about. Will this let me do this? Let's add a row below. We'll put it gray, and I'll just say I don't know. Or I'll just put no idea. Or what the fuck is this? There we go. Oops. Oh, fuck. Now I lost my D tier. Hold on. Yeah, sorry for my ineptitude on how these work. What happened to motherfucker? God damn it. Add a row below. Okay, we did that. All right, let's go to this fucker. What the fuck is this? Sorry about this. I know this is not entertaining at all, but maybe watching an old man try is funny. Okay, now we got it set up. Looking at the chat here. What is it? Gato Negro. Is that L7? Is that an L7 album? I don't know. It's going in the what the fuck is this? Because I don't know what that is. Alright, up next we've got yeah, thank you. Can you scroll down a little more? I don't know. I can't read that. I don't know what that is. Up next we have Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies, or whatever. I like the color scheme. I like the composition. I don't know. As far as just like the album art itself, I just didn't like the kid's stupid face. It didn't really like that. Didn't really look all that cool to me. I did like kind of like the jar and like kind of the creepy room, but I'm gonna put that in the C tier. I never thought that was the best album art in the world, to be honest with you. Oh, Chicago, you're such a sweet boy. That's my grandson. I don't know if y'all know that or not. Chicago is my grandson. He changes my stinky shit-stained diapers. And don't ask him about his gag reflex either. All right, here's an idea. Can you right-click and open the image, new tab to see if the image will blow up? Whenever I right-click on it, literally nothing happens. Anyway, let's go to Sap, Alice in Chains EP Sap. Now, yes, it is a fucking tree with a little sap bucket on it that collects the sap that will become syrup. I'm just going to piss people off and call it syrup. I've lost everything now. My grandson's going to nuke my Discord now. I just revealed too much secrets. Sorry. So, I don't know. On paper, it's a lame idea. Let's take a picture of a fucking tree with a little sap collecting bucket on it. I know there's a technical term for all that. Any Canadians out there want to tell me? But yeah, I don't know. The lighting on it's pretty menacing, and it's kind of got that really like high contrast. Almost looks like it was taken during like a lightning flash or something. It's kind of got this menacing like side part to it or whatever. So I don't know. I'm gonna put that in the B tier. I like it more than the Jar of Flies cover. Whoever made this tier list, which was not myself, obviously, because I'm not smart enough to do anything like this, even though I'm sure it's not very difficult. I think it's probably more of something I don't have the time to do, to quote a James Rolfism there. This person apparently really liked Alice in Chains, has most of their stuff on here, which is fine by me. Power Slave has an interesting statement. The fucking bucket and the blue coloring complements the music well, I think. I agree. For some reason, the cover kind of feels to me how that EP like sounded. God, my fucking back with this pulled muscle or something. All right, now we're getting to the Tripod album cover, the self-titled Alice in Chains. Geez, just looking at this album cover statement, I mean, kind of reminds me of like old like Man Ray photography, like just that freak show kind of shit back in the 1920s, which I like. But it's really just a picture of a three-legged dog with like a piss yellow filter over it, which is like from a compositional standpoint, I mean, they don't even have. I will say I'm also considering the font and like is the logo on the picture or is it not? So that also goes into consideration. I generally get a little annoyed when a band doesn't have any like text information on the cover. It annoyed me as a teenager when I would go into a store and I'd pick up an album and I'm like, what the fuck? You had one job. Like, at least put the name of the band on the album cover. That's just a personal pet peeve of mine. It always annoyed me when albums didn't put the band name anywhere on the front of the cover. It especially pissed me off when they left the fucking track listing off the back of the album. Well, I'm just doing 90s music this time around because it's my wheelhouse, and I don't know. I just wanted to. might do just classic album covers in general next time, but we're just doing this for right now. I'm gonna put this in like, I'll put in the B tier because it does have that freak show quality to it, but again, it's kind of a lazy pitch. It's compositionally, they sourced a three-legged dog. They took a picture of it. They slapped a weird filter over it. No band name, no album name. Just you get what you get. So not anything great. Next, we get to kind of the exact opposite of that concept, where high concept, high visual interest, great use of color composition here, and that would be Alice in Chains' Dirt. I think that is, I'm going to put that in the S tier. That's a great album cover. Yeah, get in there. And then they have the chick in the desert who's naked, and she's kind of like superimposed over the desert or whatever. She's kind of faded away or whatever. Be great if my mouse would work. Does this work here? No, don't do that. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's all fucked. Oh, sweet gentle Jesus. Chicago. Okay, that's all I wanted to do. Jesus Christ, man. Anyway, no, I think Dirt's a great album cover. It's just got that striking image that as soon as you see it, it just invokes good feelings. Even if I had no idea who Alice in Chains was, like, that would have made me happy, like, seeing that album cover. I would want to know more. I think the more you kind of put into something like an album cover, the more thought you put into it. Sometimes can mean, like, there's more here to be discovered than what meets the eye. So I definitely feel like Dirt is deserving an S spot. Their first, Alice in Chains' first album, Facelift. I'm gonna put that in the A tier. It's the whole band superimposed like over each other, almost like a projector or something like that. It gives like this Tool vibe, this freaky, uncanny valley vibe. It's bizarre, it's garish, it's kind of over the top. It's not particularly denoting any time period to me. Like, I don't look at this and say, oh, this screams 80s or this screams like 70s or 90s. Like, I think it's just kind of a freakishly looking album cover, and you know, you can't really detect any one person's face. It just looks like a amalgamation of several faces, so I always liked. And the name of the album is Facelift. They have their legendary logo in the upper left-hand corner that they would go on to use for quite a while. First beer of the night, by the way. Cheers, bitches. Yeah, I like Dirt and Facelift. Those are good. Cannot read what the fuck this album is. It's gonna go in the what the fuck is this. This one's going in the what the fuck is this. Is that pig face? I can't see. They're so small. Beer squirt vape time. You goddamn right. I wish I had some squirt. Just squirt it right in my mouth. Let it drip down my moist Christian throat. Anyway. That didn't have to. That wasn't something that I had to say. All right. Up next, I have Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger. Though I love this album, I don't know what kind of like, I don't know what they were going for with that illustration. It's just like these like kind of spokes to some kind of fucked up Egyptian looking device. I don't know what. It's so kind of a weird album cover. I love the Soundgarden logo though, the long lettering, very kind of imposing looking, and that kind of became their logo that they wouldn't always use, but that kind of became their classic Soundgarden logo. I love the album, but as far as the album art goes, I'd probably put that in the D category because it's not even like, just a weird illustration. It's like if somebody submitted me that, I'd be like, all right, what are my other choices? Because I don't like that. What are my other choices I can slap my band name over? Because I'm not feeling that one at all. All right. Up next, we have Nirvana's first album, Bleach. If you take out the fact that it's a Nirvana album, what do you have? You have a negative of a band playing a show. Of course, a negative is back whenever you would take photos. The positive would be the actual picture that you would get, and then you had your roll of negatives, which was just the exact opposite of the coloration that's used in the positive. Pretty sure what most people know what negatives are, but if you're Gen Z, you may not. Yeah, it's just a negative of the band playing. I like the kind of the letterboxing composition of their first album. I like the logo of the band at the top and the album name at the bottom. That looks clean. The composition is clean, but the picture itself is kind of lazy to me. I'd put it in the same category as I would C tier. It's just as far as like how it looks. Oh yeah, I know. I was surprised to see Jerry Cantrell's Degradation Trip on here. We got some old man eating some beans. This is going in what fuck is this category? No idea what that is. Up next, we got Blind Melon with their fucking dumb B girl. That, you know, nothing against the girl, lady, woman. She's probably in her 60s now who played the B girl, but Jesus Christ, man! If I was in Blind Melon, and the label's like, "Hey, the video was a hit with the girl in the B costume," I don't know which came first, the album or. I imagine the album would have had to have come first before the video, but either way, I don't know. They put a lot of faith in that B girl, and she did resonate, but what a stupid album cover. That goes into the D category. I would, again, if I had any like druthers with my label, I'd be like, yo, what are my next choices? Like, that is not something that I adhere to. You Don't Care says, my dad worked with Jerry Cantrell's brother, LMAO. Well, sick. Can you get him on my YouTube channel? I'd love to have a word with him about his family and how awesome his other brother is. Anyway. All right, so up next we have Bush's 16 Stone. I don't know. I always like this one. It's more on the avant-garde side. It looks like some old computer with some, I don't know, kind of weird code on there or whatever. This is one of those albums that stands out to me because it doesn't look like it's some grunge album. It looks like this could be an electronic thing. Like this could be anything. And I don't know. It just... for some reason, it's always been attractive to me, but you know, still not the greatest in the world. I'll put this in the B category. And I'm not commenting on the actual albums themselves because obviously this was a very big album for Bush. It has most of their hits on there, and you know, I enjoyed them to a certain degree. But again, I'm sticking just to the album art here. Next, we have Is it Candlebox or Collective Soul? I want to say this is one of those two bands. They're just like standing in a field being all like, we're alternative, bro. And Bleach S tier. How do you figure? Yeah, it's just one of those generic 90s band things. Dude standing in a field. Not quite D tier, but definitely C tier, middle of the road. Which, I don't know. The ones that are already in the C tier, like, look way better than this. Is that Collective Soul? Either one. I'm going to put in the D tier, because I like Bleach, Jar of Flies, and... better than these albums that I have in the D tier here. Candlebox, okay. Up next is Our Lady Peace. I forget the name of this album. It's the one with like Superman's dead or whatever. I always liked this album art, like the guy on like the little trapeze or whatever, like he's got the trapeze in his mouth, and it was very eye-catching in the store. Now, obviously, again, not commenting on the music of Our Lady Peace, but like this album always stood out to me, like visually. I liked that album cover back in the day. Just stood out. Stone Temple Pilots Core. I always liked that album cover as well. I'm gonna put that in the B category. Just the coloring, the composition. They definitely didn't follow the rule of thirds on this one. The woman's dead in the center, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. What's up with like 90s alternative albums and having a fucking tree in there somewhere or another? It's like you got this scary tree in the back of Core, you got a scary tree on Sap, you got a scary tree on Days of the New. I mean, what was up with like menacing trees and 90s alternative rock? How did those two go together exactly? So yeah, anyway, try to keep up with the chat here as I go. Grunge is for the trees. Up next, we have Silverchair's Frog Stomp. Yeah, I really like this album cover. It stands out. It's got a different kind of art style than anything that was going on at the time. You know, just the pure white background with the green illustration of the frog and the kind of the childlike looking font. It all kind of goes together like in a complete package. You could see this as like this could be like a child's drawing, or it could be like an actual like piece of art that like, well, what's going on with the frog? What's the frog feeling in this situation? What's his motivation? You know, I don't know. And then the name of the album is Frog Stomp, which is like, what the fuck? It's like, don't tell me someone's about to stomp on that poor little froge. The froge. All right. Up next, we have Garbage 2.0. I always very much disliked these albums that were done in early digital design. This album cover I felt like was like kind of had this like digital design form factor to it. And I know like internet was, believe it or not, internet was becoming like kind of a bigger deal back then. Everyone was like starting to get internet in some form or another. And they were sending out those AOL 1.0, 3.0, 4.0 in the mail for free for people to try out AOL online. And so it was referenced in not only this album, Garbage version 2.0, but in that System of a Down song, Toxicity, he's like, conversion, some version 7.0. I don't know exactly what word he says, but he says version 7.0, and I know it was in reference to, at the time, AOL mailing out all those free online, and it'll always be the new AOL version 8.0 or 5.0. So just as an elderly millennial here, I can enlighten you into the referencings, the various referencings that are going on here. Any hoozles. So then they had their Garbage's first album. I kind of like the color and the form factor of it. Just the black with the pink, almost looks like confetti. It just stood out in record shops, CD stores. It's always nice to have like two very different opposing colors. Like with Frog Stomp, you have the green frog with the white background. On here, you have the Garbage with the big G as like a nice little logo against a pink background that, you know, it's very textured, visually interesting and appealing to me. Yeah, all the cheap bastards I knew with those AOL CDs, they would install the CD and you got like 500 free hours or 50 free hours or something like that. And then once the counter would start as soon as you logged on to the internet, and then once you hit the 50 hours, it would just log you off and you'd have to either subscribe to AOL, or if you were a cheap ass like a family friend of ours, they would just wait and keep getting new AOL trial CDs in the mail, and they'd just keep installing the new one whenever the old one ran out. And that was a pretty cheap ass thing to do. Smashing Pumpkins, Gish. So I never loved the album art to this album. It's very well, shit, I actually have this album, so I should probably just grab it so I can look at it closer. Sorry guys, I want more visuals. Is this it? Yeah, alright. Fuck! Chicago, I'm down! Ah! Alright. Yeah, so, see, I got the actual... Let's just... You know what? I'm afraid to even exit out of this because I feel like once I do, it's just all going to go to shit. Yeah, so their Gish album, it's got like this red bead, this circular red bead that goes around like this very fish-eyed picture of the band dressed in their very early Pumpkins attire of like the paisley button-down shirts, very loose-fitting with their fucking Levi denims, and it just screams 90s. It screams like kind of like a psychedelic band. It looks very much feminine, which is fine, but in a cheesy like Spencer's Gifts way, not in like a more Adore album cover type way. It's like teenage feminine, not like I'm a grown-ass woman kind of design. So I kind of hate the Gish album. Again, I love the actual album, but I'm divorcing, and it's hard. I'm divorcing my feelings from the music, right? Because I love that album. I love Gish. But yeah, I'm just going off of the album art. And when it comes to the Pumpkins, it gets even harder to separate the album art from the actual album itself. Fuck it. All right, up next. This is going in the What the Fuck Is This? All right, then we get Holes, Live Through This. I always like this album cover, like, and this was I want to say the comedian Maria Bamford. I want to say kind of did a redo of this album cover to a certain extent. She's a comedian. She released a comedy CD like way after this album came out, but I feel like she kind of was like copying it or paying homage to it in some way or another. But I don't know. I really like this. It's expressing the fact that yes, this band has a female-fronted singer. It's kind of relating, I feel like, to the experience that many young women might feel like. Obviously, it's the prom queen, and she's having a meltdown. It's very, very direct. There's not a whole lot of like mystery as to what is to be taken into consideration when looking at an album cover like this. Yeah, I'm gonna put this in the B tier. Man, not a whole lot of things are really blowing my mind visually, apparently. We only have 2 Alice in Chains records in the S and A tier so far. Up next, we have Nirvana's In Utero, which is just some kind of like diorama of the human anatomy with like these angel wings set against this like kind of 70s textured background. I never liked this album cover that much, honestly. But I do like it more than Gish and all the stuff in the D tier, so I'll put it in the C tier category. I thought I already put you in the What the Fuck Is This? Well, you're going back in there. Up next we have, and this is probably a good thing that this is a small image because my video would probably get shut down. We have Jane's Addiction's Nothing Shocking album. Of course, it's the album with the, I'm guessing, wax figures or dummies of the conjoined women who are naked with their heads on fire with some kind of cowhide on either side for background texture. It's in the same vein as the Tripod, dog, the Alice in Chains' self-titled. It's got that freakish carnival show shock value thing going for it, and for that, I'll put it in the B tier. I think it's a pretty cool album cover. Or maybe it should go into the A tier. That is a really unique cover. I'll go in that A tier. Fuck it. Hot cover. Nice. I have become cumbersome to my girl. Oh, you know 7 Married Threes in this bitch. Bitch. Jerry Cantrell's, I think, that's his second solo album, Degradation Trip. Now I really like this album cover. It's like some kind of dead hand on some riverbank. The colors are striking. It's a well-composed image. It looks like, it doesn't look like they just took some random stagehand's arm and they're like, hey, you lay down there on that riverbank. We're going to take a picture of your hand looking all fucked up. With that being said, I don't know if I would put it in the same category as something as original, as unique as Nothing Shocking or Facelift. But I think I like it a little bit more than a C tier. I don't know. It is just kind of an arm at the end of the day. Yeah, Anger Rising's a fucking badass song. That whole like choir of harmonies he comes up with at the beginning and end of the song is amazing. It shows you like who was really kind of writing a lot of the heavy shit in Alice in Chains as far as the complexities go. I don't know. Let's just put in the fucking C tier. Well, fuck it. I'll put in the B tier. I always liked that album cover for some reason. I don't know what the fuck this is, so I'm going to put in the what the fuck is this. That's a growing category. Up next, we have Kitty. Was a Spit. I thought this album cover looked like the worst example of like a Hot Topic wannabe band, unsigned. We have, we're self-funding everything. We took some glamour shots. We have this like cougar background that's lining the picture. The colors totally clash with what they're doing, like a more red and black aesthetic, yet they have this like tan and black cougar texture around them. This is a hideous album cover. Always hated it. And the chicks aren't even that hot. No, that has nothing to do with it. I don't care about how they look one way or the other, but no, I always hated that cover. Up next, we have their next album, Oracle, I believe. It's supposed to kind of look like a mouth, but it always kind of looked like a vagina to me. Again, this didn't really do anything for me at all. Kitty never really like blew my mind in the album cover department. Anyone know what the fuck this green and yellow thing is? Oh, this is L7. I don't know. I've never seen this album up close and personal, so I can't really comment. Smell the Magic. Don't know what that is. What is that? Is that like... I can't see. It's so fucking small. Is that Gin Blossoms? It's hard to tell. God forbid this go in any kind of order alphabetically or anything like that. So what? Somebody asked me if I'm playing somewhere in Jacksonville. Are you going to be part of the LOL festival here in Jacksonville? I have a friend who is going to that, and if we're still cool by the time that happens, then I'll go. But if we're not cool, then I won't go. Or maybe I'll still go just to check out something new. I don't know what this fucking album is. I'm sorry. We have other ones to work with here. And then I have another tier list with more 90s albums in case I run out. Because I got to make it through at least 3 beers before I end this stream, and I'm only on beer number 1. It's just a rule I set for myself. All right, up next we have the Alice in Chains, Lane Staley, I should say the Lane Staley side project he did with a dude from Pearl Jam, a dude from some other grunge band that was what was it? I forget. Anyway, it was like this like grunge super group called Mad Season. Mother Love Bone. There was some dude from Mother Love Bone, and I think Matt Cameron played drums, whatever. Was there any grunge thing in the 90s that Matt Cameron wasn't a part of? I think he's played drums on every grunge related thing ever. No, I really like this album cover a lot. It looks like from some kind of like noir kind of comic book or something like that. It almost looks like it should be part of like a comic, or maybe the booklet that slides out of the CD case contains more of the story or whatever. I doubt that that's the case. I never bought the album, but just standing on its own, it's a cool little album cover, album art. So I'll put that in the B tier. Screaming Trees drummer, that's okay. I knew someone was gonna eventually correct me on that one. What is this one? No idea. Nirvana's Incesticide. It's kind of got like a Marilyn Manson vibe to it, doesn't it? Like the album cover, it reminds me of like one of Manson's early album covers, like Portrait of an American Family or whatever. It's got, I don't know. It's like you'd go on to see that art style later on with other bands, where it's kind of this cutout of these like macabre images. Obviously, it's like a Nirvana like B-side record, which again, I'm not considering the actual songs involved. But yeah, I don't know. It seemed a little lazy. It felt like what it was. It was an image that was slapped together for B-sides compilation. I'll put it in the C tier. I feel just about as much towards this as I do about In Utero. So C is fine with me. Is that Nirvana's MTV Unplugged? That doesn't count. I'm putting it in the What the Fuck Is This, not because I don't know what it looks like, but it's like a shot of them from their live performance. That doesn't count to me as like album art. It's more of like a promotional image for their album. All right, now we got to get to Nirvana's Nevermind. Another good reason why this is such a small little thumbnail, because nobody wants to see a baby's penis. So if I wipe away the fact that this is like one of the biggest albums of the 90s and of all time, I think if they hadn't have photoshopped in that dollar on a hook and like, get it, the babies, even as a baby, were already chasing the almighty dollar. Isn't that such a commentary on the American experience and on capitalism and on the ills of how we bring up our children to worship money more than anything else? And it was just so like on the nose with the point that they were trying to make. That really made me, like, whenever I would study the album art, I'd be like, oh, that's so cheesy. With all that being said, if I'm ignoring the dollar on the hook, the image of the baby and the beautiful water, the blues, and then the logo in the bottom left, utilizing the rule of thirds there very nicely with the placement. I do think it's a stunning image. I really wish they had airbrushed out the baby's cock, even in the original. I don't know why that needed to be in there. I get that we're born naked and it's natural, but we didn't have to see the cock. We could have assumed that it was there. So that was always disturbing, having to see that whenever I would, again, not saying that there's anything wrong with the human form or whatever, but it's like, do I want to see that? Not particularly. If I happen to see like a baby cousin of mine getting his diaper changed, and I catch a glimpse, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we all start out with genitalia and all. I'm getting uncomfortable even talking about this right now. Anyway, I'm gonna go B tier with it, with Nevermind. I like the blues, the water, the baby. It's innocent, but really the whole dollar on the hook thing killed it for me. It was just too on the nose with their commentary on, capitalism and chasing money and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, all right, getting a little preachy before I even put the CD on. And then you put the CD on, and it's like fucking mind blowing and it has really nothing to do with any of that. It's just more of Kurt's musings on his own life and topics of depression and this, that, and the other. It's not okay. So I can see like a Rage Against the Machine album using a cover like that all day long. But I think even Rage would look at that and be like, yeah, that's way too cartoony for us. All right. Anyway, I think I fucking rambled on about that one long enough. This is Stone Temple Pilots. Purple. I always kind of like this album cover. It's got that kind of like very Eastern art flair to it, of like the cherub riding whatever kind of beast she's riding. And obviously this was a hand drawn or hand painted design back at a time when you couldn't just easily animate something like this in some kind of illustration program, and easily undo mistakes. You kind of had to like put more effort into yield images like this. So yeah, I like this one. Didn't love it. Put in the C tier because it was just okay. Also, though, I feel like the image like belies the actual band and the sound that they were going for. Because this looks like it could be like an album of like chants from monks, or it could be some kind of a Eastern ambient thing, but it's a rock record, and it doesn't really tell me at all that it doesn't give me any idea of like what is inside or what could be awaiting me, which for the Bush album 16 Stone for some reason felt like a good thing because it was ominous with this weird looking like old piece of technology, and you kind of get the hint that it's going to be something different or interesting. But with the Stone Temple Pilots album cover, it's like very, I don't know, like pseudo cartoony Eastern kind of illustration, so it really throws you off the track of what it actually is. All right, up next, I can't really tell what album that is at all. So that's gonna go in. What the fuck is this? All right, up next we have Siamese Dream. Just straight up never liked this album cover, D tier. I never liked it. The two girls hugging. Yeah, I thought like, man, it's a great thing. This album is so fucking amazing because this album cover just sucks. For a while there was this myth that they were conjoined twins. And that's actually not true. They're not. They were like two separate people. And they even like came together, I believe, to cut a promo for their 2018 tour that they did that I went on. They were like obviously adults at that point, and it was neat to kind of see them or whatever. But like, yeah, there's this whole rumor going on back in the day, like, oh, that's actually like a Siamese twin or whatever, which is not the politically correct term for it anymore. But I mean, are there anybody are people going after other people who use the term Siamese twin at this point? I mean, how many times do you even have the opportunity to use that term Siamese twin? I mean, it's like if you ever open a pack of M&Ms and you get that one M&M that's conjoined with another, like how many times does that happen to you in life? That happens maybe once every 20 times you buy a pack of M&Ms, and that's like over, I don't know, a couple hundred M&Ms, and you get one that's conjoined like that. So I don't think there's like anyway, I don't know where I'm going with any of that. Chicago says Bill Gates is gay. All right, moving on. We got Silverchair's Freak Show. For some reason, first of all, the color theory here is great. The red with the green highlight in the background. Red is kind of the opposite of green on the color wheel. So if we're talking, color theory to make things look more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, for whatever reason, opposing colors always go well together. Like, say, movie posters love using neon or like tangerine and teal because they're like on the opposite ends of the color spectrum, and they just, something about the opposites of colors on the color wheel is physically or aesthetically pleasing to the eye. This has it in spades. It's got this, again, I mean, they're naming the album Freak Show. They have somebody who doesn't really look like a freak on there. He's just this random, I guess, kid. No, I really like this album cover, and I haven't even really heard the album that much. I'll throw it in the A tier. I like it a lot. I feel like some shit needs to start going in that A tier. Good lord. All right. Beer number 2. Beer Nummer 2. Let's go back down here. Oh, man. Not this album. Don't make me rate this one, because I don't really like the album cover at all. Damn it, man. All right, Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, one of my favorite albums of all time. You know, the album is so fucking good that my eyes associate this image with good feelings, nostalgia, good music. It's like seeing the Coca-Cola logo if you're a big soda fanatic. You see that fucking logo and it gives you good feelings because you're instantly reminded of like everything great about this thing. But if I'm just objectively looking at this, I'm like, what kind of fucking cheesy ass novelty store did they buy this from, whose grandma painted it in her spare time in the church rec room? That's just what it says to me. I know Billy Corgan's very much into this kind of this 20s daintyism and this kind of Dickensian old school, kind of aesthetic. He's used it in his music videos. I mean, this image in and of itself was used. The style was definitely used in Tonight Tonight. The lady was actually, or a lady who looked like the cover illustration was actually used in the video for 33, which I thought was sweet. And the video for 33 is very sweet, and it tugs at your heartstrings and all of that. But if I'm just going based off the art, oh man, I hate that I have to do this, but it's got to go on the D tier for me. I do not like that album art. They've done this kind of revisionist thing with the album art lately on Melancholy. I'll see they have all these kind of art pieces that look like they're from like the 20s or whatever. Basically, it's like I think what's actually printed inside the album. Anyway, they have this alternate album cover they've been using lately that looks way better than the original one did. Man, I really hate that. If someone were to look at this list and they thought I was ranking it just off the music itself, they'd be like, who the fuck is this wannabe loser and what kind of crack is he smoking? Because literally I've got Bad Motorfinger, Siamese Dream, fucking Melancholy in a D tier. Like, what the shit is this going on here? All right, what is this fucking album? I cannot see it. I don't know. I can't read that. What is that? It's like a gown with some hearts on it, and I have no idea what that is. What's the Oh, is that Veruca Salt? Okay, I don't know. No, I've not even seen that album in person, so I can't say. Pearl Jam, Riot Act. I kind of like that with the kind of the fisheye with the goat sticking its head through the little fence there. I always kind of liked that album cover for some reason. Josh, take a picture of this tier list and post it on a social media with no context. I want a good laugh. I don't want people to come at me like that, man. Like, I don't know. I'm scared if I was to do that shit. Anyway. Oh, it's Versus, right? Sorry about that. Versus. No, I like this album cover. I think it looks good. It's striking imagery. Anytime you can get an animal to do something interesting, Jesus, take that little sound bite out of context, would you? Anytime you can get an animal to do something interesting, good things will happen. Put that in the B tier. Kind of like that album cover. Yeah, I might upload it in the server if I remember to take a screenshot of this. Audio Slaves, self-titled. I never liked that fake-ass looking like plastic flame in the desert. I think it's like a ginormous image. That little flame they had commissioned or whatever is much larger than when it appears. This album, I mean, it's a great album, but the cover never did anything for me when I bought it as a kid or a teenager or whatever. Put in the C tier. Never cared for it. Up next, what is that? What band is that? Fuck. That looks like a familiar. Can I zoom in? Do I have a zoom in tool on my computer? No, it's preview. I'm gonna skip that one. Somebody with this band here that I'm jiggling around. What band? Soundgarden, Down on the Upside. Okay, thank you. Oh, it's a good album, but it's kind of it's just kind of a shitty album cover. It's very generic. It's like put zero effort into it whatsoever. Yeah, just D, because I mean, if Candlebox is going in there with their 4 dudes on the cover just in a field, then yeah, Soundgarden is going in D as well. Oh, I always hated, without a thought, Foo Fighters' Color and Shape album, their follow-up to their self-titled first album. Oh, I fucking hated that album. It was so ugly with those, like, what are those, the elemental fucking, what are they called? Like the nuclear makeup of a molecule or whatever, the molecular makeup or some shit. They're using the color theory here with the blue background and the red font or whatever, but like that is just such a basic. I mean, even their first album with like that, like it looked like a laser blaster on it or whatever, that was a better album cover than their second album. But oddly enough, the second album is my favorite album by Foo Fighters, musically speaking, and it's probably the only Foo Fighters album I own. But yeah, and I think it's their best album, but man, that is some ugly album art. Molecule, that's the word I was looking for. Court is in session, the verdict is down. No appeal on the docket today, just my own sound. Hear a rumble in the distance, see a vision of the cross. Should have been dead on a Sunday morning, banging my head. No time for mourning, ain't got no time. And I said, oh, so I held my head up high. Sorry, I saw Creed in the chat and it triggered me. I created my own prison. Sorry. Up next, we have Pearl Jam's Vitology. That goes right in the D category. What a stupid show. Was it a book from the 30s where you're telling me how to make a homemade remedy for thrush or something like that? Like, stupid. Diamond Eyes. I fucking love this album cover. I'm gonna put that in the A category. What a beautiful album cover. First of all, who doesn't love a fucking owl? Second of all, the fact that they caught it at that, with its wingspan out and all that, against that black background, interesting placement of the logo in right to the left of middle. Once again, utilizing that rule of thirds there. That's always appealing for some reason. As some professor can explain why that's appealing. But yeah, no, I love that album cover. It's a modern, it's not even anywhere near the 90s. It's like, I think it came out in like 2009, Diamond Eyes, but it's a great album cover. Love that album cover. Now, next we have Around the Fur. For some reason, I always really liked this album cover. And it's not just because it has a seemingly hot chick on it. Like, I don't know. I just really like, it's very 90s. It looks like you're at like a 90s, like a group of 20 somethings are at like a 90s like pool party, but there's like, it's illicit kind of with the coloring, the color grading of the picture. It looks like there's like some illicit stuff going on. maybe some drug use, some drinking. It's one of these album covers where the picture is telling you there's way more to the story than, and then the angle, of course, you have to talk about the angle of just the extreme overhead pointing down on this female. It kind of changes the composition completely. Can't quite see what kind of facial expression she's making. It's almost as though maybe perhaps a guy is looking down, trying to see, down her top or whatever. Like, it's one of those pictures where, like, it says so much more than what it's saying on just the surface. Like, if you really break it down, it's art. It's one of those things that's art to me. It says more for some reason to me, and everyone's different, than, say, Jerry Cantrell's Degradation Trip, where you have a contorted hand against some grass. This is actually telling a story somehow, or maybe I can relate to it because I've been to some illicit parties where, things don't end up, turning out all that well, and this is the beginning or middle to that. Just got here, but how does Audio Slave fit in here? I think I put Audio Slave. Where did I put them? I put them in the C tier with their self-titled album. This is just the album art, by the way. This isn't the music. Because if it was the music, this list would be 100% different. I can promise you that. I have no idea what this album is with the girl with her head up, showing off of her long, deep-throatable neck. I'm sure that's the image they were trying to convey there. Conversely, Deftones' first album with, like, the enema on it, I think is pretty much garbage, like D. It's like, okay. This is the opposite of Around the Fur. This tells no story. This is I don't know. I don't know what the point is. I don't get it. Goo Goo Dolls Superstar Car Wash. Oh, the girl who's about to give some deep throat. Okay. Yeah, Adrenaline. There we go. I forgot the name of the album cover. Okay, up next we have White Pony. Now, this is obviously a classic. It's a classic album cover. And I don't know why. Because, yes, it's there's a reason why so many people have this tattooed on them and they don't have any of these other things tattooed on them. It's simple. It's elegant. You don't know what you're in for. Just the clean black lines. Yeah, it's just, there's just something about it that, like, that just reeks confidence in itself. There's no pretension here. There's no we're heavy, bro, or we're trying to be shocking. We're trying to be this, we're trying to be that. It's just so confident and powerful of an image, and it looks great. Even the scaling of the pony, if you will, is great. It's almost like a 3/4 scale compared to the kind of the diameter of the square that it has to fit in. It's like the perfect size. Just everything about it is like just clean, simple, perfect. Anyway, and it's also happens to be one of their best albums. One of, not to say they have many good albums, but it's one of their best. Creed, My Own Prison. Shit. It's kind of biting off the Marshall Mathers LP here, because he had the alternate cover to Marshall Mathers. He had like 3 different covers for Marshall Mathers LP, but one of them he's kind of like in the fetal position in his house or whatever. I don't know. I'll put it in C, I guess. I will say, out of any of Creed's music, their first music from their first album is like the best in my opinion, for sure. And then everything after that is just mainstream butt rock garbage. Yeah, I would do a tier list of the Deftones. There's just a lot of their shit I have to listen to that I haven't listened to yet. They did a lot. I mean, they put out a lot of albums That oh, what's that album? Something Koi or yada yada. I love that album cover. They've had more hits than misses with album art. I love that album cover. It's something with Koi in it in the name of the album, but that album cover is, I love it, and I don't know what it is. It just speaks to me. Yeah, Koi no Yaken. Yeah, something like that. I love that album cover. Anyway, we have Melvins with the swan on it. I have not seen this album in person, though I am aware who the Melvins are, so I'm just going to put in the what the fuck is this. This Sublime album cover, for some reason, I feel like it should get... It's kind of like got a classic feel to it. I mean, it's got kind of that floral, like, flash art, tattoo style border. And then you have this guy with the band's name tattooed on his back. If I didn't know this record or this band's music, there's still just something about it that sticks out to me that's kind of like around the fur, that like it says dedication. People must really like this band for someone to have gone out and gotten the band name tattooed on their back. It kind of tells a story a little bit. Kind of gives you the vibe that this has probably got some frat aspects to it. You know, this is a party band, you know, and yeah, with the mixture with the floral like border. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a classic 90s album cover, much like Dirt would be, or White Pony. Although I think White Pony came out in the year 2000. You don't care. It means something big. DC Cowboy, you don't care is killing me. What? I love the subtle little kind of unexplainable jokes that go on with the intranet. All right, let me save this and we'll crack open another one here because I have a backup one, because I figured this was going to be a wee bit short, like my like my penis. Download image. Oh wait, is this something I have to actually do on the... Ah, fuck. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna take a screenshot. Hold on. That I know how to do without their fucking help. Boom, bitch. Took a screenshot. Save that for later. Alright, so let's rustle up the next one here, you little fanny fuckers. Alright, that's one I just rated. Okay, so now we have a new one here. Got some different choices in here. Pretty interesting. It's got some weird rankings. It's got some weird satanic Latin after all the letters. You'll see in a second. Yo, how's everybody doing in the chat, man? What's up? Hell yeah. I'm horny as a motherfucker. Right now. Shit. You know how I do. Shit. Ain't no thing, motherfucker. What the fuck you talking about? Fuck out of here, yo bitch ass. Yo, this motherfucker over here trying to clown my ass, bitch. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Capping asshole. Where are all the white girls at? Shit. Fuck, dog. Now, you can't say that's racial because white guys talk like that too, and I think we all know that's true, okay? What the fuck? Alright. Copy. Motherfucking paste. If it wasn't for the fact that these were just so gosh darn fun, I wouldn't do them, because I tell you, I don't make dick all off of this, monetarily speaking. Dick all. I don't make dick all from these. But yeah, they're just so gosh darn fun. I can't help it. I like it. I just like it. Presentation. Oh yeah, you see all that satanic Latin shit that's don't read those out loud. Wherever you're at right now, you will summon some kind of demonic entity, and it's not going to end well for you. So yeah, don't read any. I don't know what that is, but it's some kind of satanic Latin. Do not read that out loud. We do need to add a what the fuck is this category, because I'm not going to know what all this crap is. Oh, wait, I need to do this. Add a row below. Ho. No, that needs to be green. I don't know why it needs to be green, but that just seems to be how things work around here. All right. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is that? Look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. Well, would you just look at it? All right, I don't know who this first one is. Is that a tortoise? Wait, I don't know what this first one is. Going on, what fuck is this? The first one is tortoise? I don't know who tortoise is. I don't know. Chicago's having a fucking fit over here. My grandson's freaking out. Oh shit, we got a super chat from Chief McLeod. Thanks for the great output. Thoughts on Rob Zombie White Zombie album art? More stuff inside the slides cover. Love or hate the music, the art was fun. Like heart. I like White Zombie's music more. Rob Zombie definitely had that radio sheen, that radio polish. They I'm arguably they're the bigger band. Their album art was very kitschy. I'm trying to the Hellbilly Deluxe is pretty classic. Kind of had that zombie movie thing going. You could tell Rob Zombie was really into movies and directing, because he really did, he did up his whole look and kind of had since the very beginning of White Zombie. It was pretty cool. I wouldn't put it in classic album status though. All right, so Chicago. All right, noted. Chicago really likes this Tortoise band. I've never heard the record, but I can tell you that the cover itself ain't doing nothing for my dick. And you know what else is doing nothing for my dick? As I adjust my nuts right now, sorry. Fuck. Getting live and loose on a Friday night. This Metallica Black album goes in the fucking D tier. Like, I don't know. Anyway, in any way, shape, or form, just a purely, like, black album with no, like, font on it would just be kind of stupid, in my opinion. Very difficult for the consumer to even know what they're buying. But to add like this faint little logo in the upper left-hand corner, then to add that fucking libertarian "Don't Tread on Me" snake in the lower right hand, it just, even if I didn't know what the snake meant, it's horrible. It's a horrible album cover. I would say Metallica in general have never had great album covers. Ride the Lightning was pretty cool. It had that standard, like, thrash 80s animated, like, or illustrated rather, cover. Yeah, I can't really think of an Injustice for All was a pretty decent album cover. Master of Puppets was actually a really great album cover, but after that they just kind of went to shit, because Load and Reload were awful covers. Saint Anger sucked. Death Magnetic was whatever. Hated Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Thought that was a stupid cover that almost bit off of Facelift to a certain degree of fusing all the band members' heads together. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, it's like they're trying to keep it a secret that it's a Metallica record. It was just, I don't know. Their new album cover, 17 Seasons or whatever, it's okay, but I don't know. Whatever, moving on. I'm thinking of what the fuck is this? Don't know what that is. Portishead Dummy. I like it a lot. Put in the A tier. I love the letterboxing. Beth Gibbons is kind of centered there around some big like Parcan lights that are mounted up to the ceiling. I like the elegant font and placement of their logo. Portishead, upper left hand corner. It looks like a scene from a movie, and it sounds as such. I mean, not like that I'm taking sound into consideration, but I always like that album cover a lot. All right, so we dealt with Bad Motorfinger on the last tier. Now we have Super Unknown for this tier. And I always liked the album cover. I'm going to put it in the B tier. I didn't think it was, like, amazing, but I liked how freakish they made, like, Chris Cornell look. He's got, like, this weird demonic elf kind of thing. His face is, like, got this, it's almost like melting away, which was almost like a prelude to that fucked up Black Hole Sun video that I fucking hate even to this day. Even though the face stretching technology looks so primitive now, it's still, it weirds me out too much to see human faces distort like that. It kind of like seeing eyes and mouths and everything like expand like that, and it just kind of creeps me out. And that video fucking scared the shit out of me when I was 12 years old. But no, as far as the album art is concerned, it's pretty good, but nothing all that special. I've never seen the Eels, this album in person or up close, but I heard they're a really good band that I should probably check out. Deftones, I've never seen the music video, mostly don't have a care to. You should watch it. Dude, honestly, Chicago, as a Gen Z or whatever the fuck you are, I would be interested to see what your take was on Black Hole Sun, like the music video for it. You're probably going to laugh your ass off at it and be like, wow, Josh, this freaked you out when you were 12. But you don't understand, man. It was a different time. We weren't used to seeing everything everywhere all at once, like that one fucking movie that was out earlier. Depeche Mode, Violator. Probably put in the same category. Let's put in the A tier. Red Waxy Rose against a solid black background. A vertical text scroll of their name on the far right hand side with a gray gray box or a rectangle to set it off. It almost looks like a product, like you'd have a clothing tag on the right. And say it's like a shirt design with like the clothing tag in the frame. But with that being said, I mean, it's contemporary. It's breaking away from the 80s. This album was released in, I believe, 91 or 90. It was a great kind of kickoff to the new millennium, or new decade rather, for Depeche. So yeah. Well, yeah, then watch the music video and get back to me. Well, don't watch it right now because I need you. But later on, watch it. If you were to leave me now, I would lose all sense of direction about what I was doing. Oh, hey, it's the other guy with the wrench. Ashtray Decay. Yay. Gay. All right, anyway. Yeah, I agree with the putting... So basically, if you're just tuning in, we're starting a second tier list of rating album art from the 90s, because we already did one. I know you are, bud, and God says it's okay to be gay. Yay. I don't know what the fuck this album is. I already ranked Jar of Flies, so I'm just going to leave that down there. Up next, we have the fantastic Massive Attack. Wait, I should be objective on my opinions here and shouldn't say what my opinion is of this album. But we have Massive Attack's Protection album. It's kind of got this obscure image, this like rust red kind of geometric formation against this kind of metallic looking tiled background. I dig it, but I'll just put it in the B tier because I do think it had that. It's got like a barcode on it right below the name. I do think it had that information on the original album art, which is tacky as all hell. So anyway, Beck Odelay. I always really liked that album cover a lot. Like, what, I know that's a type of dog, but it's a very bizarre type of dog with very wiry hair, and just the composition with the how they did the logo with the it's kind of like a banner, and it very much sets you up for the album experience you're about to have with this album. Beck is an eclectic artist, to say the least. Always did lean more towards kind of the alt label, however you want to pull that, but there's so much other inspirations in Beck's music, like funk and blues, and which I'm not typically a huge fan of, but definitely hip hop. He mashes it all together in such a unique way that you just have to kind of take pause at. And Odelay is a classic album cover for him, for sure. I would almost put it in the A category. I'll put it in the A category. Who am I hurting? Yeah, I know. There's so many lurkers in here, dude. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, there's at least 33 people in the chat right now. I mean, you other guys can pipe up and say words if you want to. I'm pretty much just reading everything right now because there's not a whole lot to read, but if you just want to sit in the fucking closet and look through the fucking shutters like a pervert, that's fine too. You can have it any way you want, because I'm raw. That's how I like it. Okay, so next we have Green Day's Nimrod. I always really like this album cover. I don't know why. They got these like two. I think with me, what I'm noticing with album art is like if I feel like it's saying something more than just what I'm seeing initially, what I'm seeing with my own two eyes. Like if I feel like there's something deeper behind that typically makes me like the album art more. So you got these two what look like men from like the 1960s or 1950s. They look like they could be in some position of power, maybe a principal, maybe a politician. And it's like just these old portraits, and then it just has these like stamped circles over their face that just says Nimrod on it. In this kind of like rectangle within the square aspect of the album art. Great font for their logo. I just really liked that album art. Didn't really care for the album though. I've already talked about Siamese Dream, so I'm not gonna beat that horse, and I don't want to put myself through that pain of having to disparage that album cover again. I don't know what the fuck this is, so I'm putting it here. Aerosmith's 90s album Get a Grip is like so stupid. It's such a like a boomer dad joke, like, get it, get a grip, and there's two cow udders, and that's what you do with cow udders is you grip them and you pull them or whatever the fuck. Like, you know, like there was a lot of bands I feel like back like in the 70s who did these quirky, like, you know, ironic album covers, like that would be like complete dad humor, like get it, get a grip, or like yeah, those 70s bands, they did that all the time, and I think that was a cheesy aesthetic that was definitely lost on the bands that came out through the 90s. Didn't do those like tongue-in-cheek until you came around to bands like Blink-182, and even the emo bands kind of brought it back with the the cheeky little album covers would be like Enema of the State and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, Dude Ranch. It's like, get it. It's gay stuff, or jacking your penis. But in general, I really hate those kind of that kind of album art. Up next, we have Bjork's Post. Man, I love this fucking record, but I do not like this album art. The only reason she gets into the C category is because she's so fucking hot. So you have like a physically appealing woman on the cover, but it's that 90s like graphical design shit that just dates the fuck out of it, because like it just does not look contemporary. I mean, if you're going to go for like digital art, tread lightly on new technology and go in basic with it. Don't try to make this complex menagerie because it's never going to look as gray as you think it does years down the road. I mean, there's a reason why like album art from like, you know, the 70s are still iconic because they're working with practical things that actually exist in front of the camera that are timeless. When you start doing digital stuff like this, like digital art, vectors, and all this kind of stuff, it just ages badly because it's always going to improve as time goes on. And unfortunately, she just leaned really far into that with that album cover, and I don't like it for that reason. And up next, REM's Out of Time. As far as the album art goes, pretty lazy. I'll put it in the B tier. I don't want it touching that weird digital crap that Bjork did on her album art. Yeah, it's nice in the sense of like that's a nice banner that almost looks like it could be on like a roadside sign as an advertisement for a restaurant or a museum or something, like a highway sign or something. But like, there's really nothing else going on with this album art. REM isn't exactly known for like their great album art. It's not really about that with them. I think it's more about just the music listening experience. I mean, for fuck's sakes, with REM, it's not even about the lyrics because Michael Stipe famously never printed the lyrics in any of their liner notes until like 1998's Up, but even then you had to buy the deluxe edition to get the lyric booklet. It's like a little arrogant in a way. It's like, oh, if you want to see my golden words, you must spend more money to read what I have written. But I also like that about them because I don't really care about lyrics that much either. And I think Michael Stipe writes some really intriguing sounding lyrics. I don't know what it's about. I have no fucking idea what he's talking about, but it sounds interesting. And that's all I really care about at the end of the day. All right, up next. This is My Bloody Valentine, right? Yeah. It's just kind of like this purple and pink thing. I don't care. Who is this? Can't see. It's going in the what the fuck is that? This is Air, Moon Safari. I like this album cover pretty good. It can go in the B. It's pretty cool. It's a really good album. Air is a very underrated electronic group, I feel. Oh, I put a Pulp album in the what the fuck is this? Shit. Well, either way, I have not seen this with my own two eyeballs enough to know what it's like anyway. All right, making me make tough decisions here again with REM's Up. Yeah, it's kind of just got that 1970s, like, that kind of earth tony with the roadside neon light font with that simple basic graphic there. The composition's nice, but I think overall it's a lazy design. It doesn't really tell you much about the album. It doesn't tell you anything. It just looks like a bunch of assets that were thrown together in some kind of a early edition of Photoshop or something. Honestly, this is what this album cover, even Out of Time, looks like something that had to have been rendered by hand, but Up, to me, simply looks like something that were a bunch of assets that were culled together and made into an album via a digital app like an early version of either Photoshop or Corel Draw or whatever they had available in the late 90s. So I don't like the aesthetic on that particularly. I don't know what this album is. Oh, man. 9 Inch Nails Downward Spiral. I actually really like how this album looks a lot. I can't explain why. We don't have any classics so far. And I'm not going to put Downward Spiral in the S tier just because it's an amazing album. I think the cover art is good. I don't think it's great. Yeah, it's very bold because they are like, fuck you. It's ugly. It's decaying. It's moldy. It's tattered, worn, weathered, whatever adjective you want to throw in to describe like the listening experience you're about to have, which I would assume would be the case if I had never even heard of Nine Inch Nails. I would take one look at this album and did I put a Sigur Rós album into the what the fuck is this? Sorry, my bad. But yeah, I would take a look at Downward Spiral's album art and I'd be like, this is going to be something really different that I'm not expecting, and that's exactly what the album is. So I think it's great for that reason, even though some might look at this and they might think, what, did someone back their unwiped ass up onto a wall and like twerk against it or something? Because this looks just like a bunch of shit stains on like a plaster, or whatever. But no, I think of something different when I look at that. Oh, up next we get to Counting Crows, August and Everything After, their breakout LP with all their hits, Mr. Jones and Round Here and whatever else songs that people liked by that band that seemed to only be relevant in the 90s. This album art for like an album as a whole is all font. I mean, there's font in the background, which isn't always a bad thing, but then like the main kind of thing that you're looking at is more font, but bigger and in black lettering. It's ugly. I hate it. I hate this album art so much, and I don't like the Counting Crows, so that definitely doesn't help. Tom York said Stipe is his favorite lyricist. Kind of makes sense. Yeah, it absolutely makes sense for Tom York to say that. He's one of my favorite lyricists, too. I've said it in the... ow. Fucking back, dude. I've said it in the past in one of my YouTube shorts that my band put out. We were asking each band member who our favorite lyricist was. Mine was Michael Stipe. I think Peter Gabriel had some pretty interesting lyrics, too. Sting is a really good lyricist. You gotta be like on another level of intelligence to really like write good lyrics. It's hard. Ah, fuck. Chief McCloud's back. Just great. No, the new Dancing with Ghosts single drops July 19th. It's called Magazine, and it's a political song. But don't worry, none of us in the band are smart enough to write a super deep political song. It's just surface level political platitudes. But you know what? Sometimes the world needs that. Hell yeah, man. Open up your fruit cage. Don't you want to sometimes have your fruit cage opened up and have a bee fly in it? I don't know what the fuck this album art is. I don't know. That looks familiar. Is that Jane's Addiction? I don't know. Pearl Jam's 10. Yeah, I always like really liked this one. I would almost consider it classic. Yeah, it kind of is. The name is very like we're here, bitch. All the hands joining together, that purple background, like I don't know. Everybody knows my feelings about fucking Pearl Jam and how I don't like their music, but like I don't know. That's just a really sometimes the simple ideas are the best, and sometimes like the really like very like heavily thought out ideas are the best. But I really always like. I mean, I don't like Pearl Jam, and this album's okay, but like I don't like Pearl Jam. But I always thought that album cover always stood out. It's like they're united in this journey to rock, and there's their fucking name. They're sticking their. It's very macho, but then at the same time they have the very soft, like violet or pinkish background, so it's kind of got that feminine energy as well. It tells a story, people. That's what I'm saying here. I don't know what that fucking album is. This is U2's Zooropa, I believe. It looks like some artist on an acid trip drew it. It's going in the C tier. I don't care for it. Up next, we have Jeff Buckley's Grace. Jeez, I'm so gassy drinking all this carbonation. Okay, if I'm looking at this album, if I'm looking at Grace, I'm thinking, here's a teen heartthrob who's about to sing some emotional songs from his soul, man. And he's singing it to a girl. And I could not be more bored by that album cover. Now, of course, knowing what I know about Jeff Buckley, I know this is a classic and only album from him before he decided to take a dip in a river and drown. But there you go. I already talked about Smashing Pumpkins' Melancholy. I do not want to have to go through that pain again. I don't know what the fuck this is. Oh, is it? Yeah, I don't know. I already talked about Vitology. Green Day's Dookie, that honestly is a classic. That is a classic album cover. If you ever get a chance to look at that album cover up close, there is so much going on. The animation is amazing. You know, I said earlier, like, simplicity is sometimes, I mean, and this is like the best example. You have Pearl Jam juxtaposed to Green Day's Dookie. You have a simple concept of all four of the guys in the band putting their hands together, you know, like in unity with their name in large font, just right in your face. And then you have literally what looks like 1,000 at least hours of animating on a scale that's much larger than even a vinyl record because of all the fine detail on the album cover of Dookie. You can't draw that small on just like maybe on a size of a vinyl. I don't know what the dimensions are. Like I know it's probably like what, like a 12 by 12 is for vinyl, but whatever. Either way, like I'm sure the actual master print of Dookie is like much larger. But no, it's amazing. The album art for Dookie is incredible. You gotta admire that. And it's a pretty good record too, even though I don't really care for Green Day all that much. Don't know who the fuck this is. I've already talked about the Tripod album from Alice in Chains. Now in this one, interestingly, they do not have the yellow piss colored filter over the dog. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I think for some reason I prefer the piss filter. Maybe I just like piss. Sonic Youth, not familiar with this album, but that's some pretty lazy album art right there, dude. Don't like it. Who are all these boys in this pool or this lake? I have no idea. Codeine? No idea. Oasis, was it Definitely Maybe? Let me read some of these comments. Maybe I'll get some insight. Bro, you need to listen to that Jane's Addiction album like stat. What, nothing shocking? Yeah, I should get on it. Perry Farrell's voice kind of gets on my nerves, though. Spiderland? I don't know about Spiderland. It sounds like a land of spiders. Can't stand the voice, but I have to admit Dookie has a rad cover. Steve Albini produced Slint's first album. I don't know who Slint is. Oh, the filter is the color of the jewel case. Yes, that's right. I do remember that in the store. Yeah, you're right. That was the cover, the color of the jewel case. All right, who do we got next? Oh yeah, the Oasis record. A bunch of English blokes in their flat playing their music there. It's all right. I'll put it in the B, I guess. Because it does kind of show off like their personalities a little bit. You know, they're just dicking around. And even the fucking sassy name of the record, oh no mate, possibly maybe, definitely maybe. No, possibly maybe is a Bjork song. Definitely maybe, I don't know mate, can't commit. It's the 90's, you know? Not, you know what I mean? You through with talking me yet? So it tells a story, whatever. Can't stand Oasis though, personally. R.E.M's Monster. I like this album cover. I'll put it in the B tier. Oh, is this the same tier that I have their Up album? No, it's better than that. I'm putting the A tier. It's a Simple image. They're using color theory here. The band logo is in blue, or like a more greenish blue against a orange background. That really helps it pop. It's got this blurry image of this kind of animated bear or illustrated bear. It's interesting. I would definitely look at this if I went to a CD store back in the day. And on top of that, it's a great record. But I won't talk about the music because it's supposed to just be about the art here. What's the frequency, Kenneth? All right, Offspring's Smash album. The X-ray of a skeleton with this funky kind of piss neon orange yellow kind of thing. Got the typewriter font for the band name. I like it. It's a little skulls, bro. Intense. It's a little on the nose for what they're doing, but it's I don't know. I'll put it in the A because I'm looking at what I got in the B, and it's like it's better than this stuff for sure. No, I fucking know Jane's Addiction. I know who they are. I've heard several of their songs. I just don't really care for Perry Farrell's voice all that much. Coming down a mountain, everybody's got their own opinion. Yeah, I don't care for his voice. I liked Porno for Pyros too. I mean, I thought Porno for Pyros was a little better, honestly. Just Because was a good Jane's Addiction song later in their career. All right, what is this? Square Pusher? I know Square Pusher. I'm not familiar with this album, though, or this album cover. I've never seen it in person. It's going to go in the What the Fuck Is This? What is this? Pavement? I've never seen it in person. Tom Waits. Pretty cool. Very 90s looking. 90s loved this sepia toned kind of textured background where the subject is kind of like not lit very well, but the background is more lit than the subject in the foreground. Think Metallica's The Unforgiven music video. That was the aesthetic for the first half of the 90s. The sepia toned or black and white with the subject in the foreground being not as well lit as the background, and the background always had this the same texture as like any school yearbook photo, where it's that kind of ambiguous cloud looking blue background, but it was always like lit black and white or sepia or whatever. And this is just kind of a product. This looks very 90s to me, so I'll put it in like the C category just because it's so unoriginal. I took a steaming homunculus today before I jumped on this live stream. Mike Matai. All right, what is this? I don't know. Up next, we have, I won't be biased, but it's one of my favorite Depeche Mode albums of all time, Songs of Faith and Devotion. Never liked the album cover, though I did like the logo. I'll put it in the B category. It's just kind of that like torn magazine kind of thing where it's all like, mixed together with like the torn out pictures of the band and all that. Actually, I'll put it in the C. That was kind of a shitty album art. Use Your Illusion. I actually like that album art a lot. It's got this like anime feel to it almost. Like the illustration's cool. It's like the chick in the foregrounds in pure black and white, and everyone else just blends back in the background. I liked the album art. I hate Guns N' Roses, and I'll just do the same for Use Your Illusions Part 1 and 2. I already talked about In Utero, all the Nirvana ones. And this, what's the story? Morning Glory by Oasis, where he's like walking down the street singing "Do a titty titty dum ditty do." That was stupid as fuck. That's something I would have edited out. Had this been an actual video that did that. That's gonna go in the C category. I don't think that's that great of an album art, whatever. Oh God, Radiohead's OK Computer. Ugh. Well, it's like it's this futuristic. Okay, I would say this is like avant-garde done well. I feel like there's got to be some kind of computer manipulation to make this photo. It's like a negative of these streets converging with this abstract kind of thing going on. Yeah, I like it for some reason. And it's so hard to separate the music from the album art, though. Like, I want to put it in the S tier, but I feel like in my heart, if it was any other band, I wouldn't have it in the S tier. Shit. I'm going to put it in the A tier. It's not quite S. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Of course you like Kid A's album art more, you fucking Kid A stan. I don't know what the fuck this is. Who the fuck is that? He's going in. I don't know the fuck. The Good Son? I don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. What the fuck is that? Alright, I'm just gonna get to the ones that I do know what the fuck it is. How about that? Oh, Rage Against the Machine self-titled? That goes straight to the fucking S tier. What a fucking brutal and epic album cover. It's nothing new to take a classic picture that's pretty much like archived under, like you would find in Life magazine or Time magazine in the year in images, 1968 or whatever, and find these kind of classic photographs, and to have a band actually, secure the rights to use that as their first album. And again, I mean, the monk setting himself, like self-immolation as a protest to, I want to say, the Vietnam War, burning himself to death, essentially like Faces of Death as an album cover. It's brutal, it's visceral, it's beautiful, it's classic as you can get. I don't think they've ever touched any of their other album art has touched their debut album. Fantastic. One of my favorite pieces of album art, in fact. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that won the Pulitzer Prize in 1963. Just how the fire is like dancing off the man, and they're just the bellowing flames, and knowing that like this is this person's last like moment alive, most likely. I believe if the picture was blown up, I believe there's onlookers. You got that old 1960s style car behind him. It's just like, and it's real. And it's like, yeah, you don't really get much more cooler than that for an album cover, honestly. It was not about the Vietnam War. It was about the South Vietnamese treatment of Buddhists because the government was Catholic. Okay. All right, so yeah, I don't think we're gonna do better than that one, but let's. REM Automatic for the People. Really like this album cover a lot. Put this in the S tier. It's this obscure image, probably some kind of like a decorative top to maybe a church. Churches always have these kind of, multi-pointed kind of like adornments on top of their kind of their little towery things, their pointy little domes. They'll have something like this, but they like kind of turned it sideways, so you can't really tell what it is. Is this like a landmine? Is this it's like a water mine, or I don't know what the fuck. What is it? You know, it's one of those things like, well, yeah, what is it? Is it art? You know, it's like obscure. And then, of course, like just kind of throwing the band name right in the middle unceremoniously, not really trying to make it look, right. It's kind of got this filtery treatment around the sides. It's got this texture around it. It's just an interesting image, and I think the font is a good choice. I mean, I think everything about it is a great piece of art. It's more on the abstract side. It's kind of stands in polar opposition to the Rage Against the Machine picture, which is very literal. You don't have to be an art major to understand the significance of a picture like their self-titled, but REM's Automatic for the People is one of those things that, your average bro or Giga Chad might look at and be like, this shit sucks. What the fuck? Why do you like that fucking stupid image? It looks gay as fuck. I wouldn't stick that in my ass. But they probably would in secret. But yeah, anyway, that's what Automatic for the People says to me. Next, we have Chemical Brothers. Forget the name of this album, but I always liked the album cover. Just the black and white of the girl there, with the kind of art style. But I'll put it in the A. I was really like that album cover. All right, moving on. Blur. I've not seen that album cover in person or whatever, or bigger, so I'm not gonna fuck with it. Radiohead, The Bends. I love the alien nature of this guy. Like what's his deal? Are we looking at a dead body? Are we looking at a mannequin? He apparently has some kind of those little sticky heart monitor things that they put on people when they have like some kind of a monitoring device on them. Just the facial expression leaves something to be like question, like what is going on with this person, or are they even real? Then you kind of get the classic Radiohead logo that they went on to use for a lot of other things that they would release. I would definitely pick this CD up in a CD store. If I saw it in the racks, I would definitely pick it up and check it out and wonder what else is going on here. It's Ashtray's O-Face is what we just heard in the chat. So Ashtray Decay's O-Face is this. Confirmed. Oh my god. U2's Pop. Why did they even include this? This is garbage. This looks like a greatest hits album, but it wasn't even like it was like an actual legit album that they put out. It was like what came out in 1997. They're using like what are they, like Kiss now, when Kiss did their solo albums where each member was adorned in a different color. That's what they're kind of doing here with all the band members. It's like, ooh, fucking Bono is yellow and Edge is red and Larry is green and Adam is blue. Man, I can't believe I knew the first names of everyone in YouTube. It's kind of mind-blowing. And then finally, probably the last one that I know of on this album is Mezzanine by Massive Attack. And I gotta say, man, that's kind of like a classic to me. The fucking huge scarab or whatever the fuck beetle that crazy looking thing is with the band's name right over it. The black with the contrast of the black, very fiendish looking insect against the white background. It's fantastic. I love that album cover. It's a great. That doesn't help that it's a perfect 10 out of 10 album either. But I've always, music aside, I always love that album cover. So yeah, good stuff, babies. Yeah. So yeah, that's some more rankings of some album art. I mean, looking over this, I think this is very accurate. I mean, if you just look at the D tier, C tier, B tier, A, S. Yeah, I think when you start at the top and as you go down, it just gets kind of like crappier and crappier visually. So yeah, sweet. Oh man, that was a fucking journey. Doing a lot of judgment tonight. Being very judgmental. That's what I do best. Here I am in full screen, everybody. Did you miss me? Sure, there seemed like there was a lot of questions asked earlier, but there's no way I'll be able to get back to those to answer any of them. Yep, well, thank you for catching the stream, Ashtray Decay. Thank you for everyone hanging out. I think I'm done here. I don't think there's anything left to say. Yeah, I mean, eventually I'll maybe do a 70s thing or an 80s thing with this album art thing. This was fun. I was surprised I was able to articulately wow, that's ironic. Articulately describe like visual aspects of things. Usually I'm pretty good at that with the sonic aspects of things, but I guess I am more into visual arts than what I thought, because I do a lot of obviously video and photography for not only my band but my YouTube channel and my music videos and all that. So I guess I picked up a lot more about art and visuals than I thought. So yeah, this was fun. Thanks everyone for hanging out. The super chat from McLeod and all that. But yeah, I'm gonna go out into the world and be disappointed by the lack of social interaction out there, because my city sucks on a Friday. But anyway, have a good night.